To know and not to do is not to know. Let me say that again. To know and not to do is not to know. This is one of the most profound expressions that I've ever came across in my life, and I'm so grateful to have had that beautiful quote grace my ears because it shows up time and time and time and time again. And it shows up time and time again at every level of success in your life. Because a lot of the times we really actually know what we should be doing, but we don't do it. If you want to get healthy, okay, well, you go to the gym and you eat healthy food. Obviously, yeah, right? But why are you still obese? Why do you still have sickness? Because you don't go do it. Because there's a gap between the knowledge of what we need to do and actually doing it itself. And this is the profound principle of what makes you a strong and capable man in the world. I had a really beautiful message from a friend of mine who messaged me the other day. We just had a conversation and she left me a really nice message. She said, "I want to thank you for showing up as a healthy masculine frame. It made me feel safe." Now, I don't think I'm some special guru person. I just try to be the best person that I can be. But it was a really good confirmation because it made me realize something. It made me realize that in order to really feel safe with yourself, in order to have a woman feel safe with you, in order to have children feel safe with you, in order for have a business partner to feel safe with you, you must embody the principles that you stand by. Let me repeat that. You must embody the principles that you stand by. Most people don't know what principles are, let alone can articulate their own principles. And if they do have values or principles, they generally have to do with values that aren't necessarily the most healthy and constructive. Most people's value systems are comfort and enjoyment and being in the moment. Great. Okay. Like scrolling through social media, jerking off to pornography, um, spending time with people that aren't actually benefiting you or lifting you up. You know, that's a value system. Okay. But doesn't necessarily seem like a good value system, but that's essentially what that is. So you can know somebody's value system based on what they do and not what they say. To know and not to do is not to know. Most people are unknowingly doing what they're not supposed to do. And then when they become conscious of what they're supposed to do and they're still doing the thing that they're not supposed to do, this is a good start, but it's not enough. Because eventually, at a certain point, it becomes so obvious to you that you don't even think that you need to talk about it. And this is what's so fascinating about the embodiment process, because it becomes so obvious, it becomes so second nature that it just becomes who you are. And you're going to get to a point of the embodiment process where people start to point out things to you that they value in you, that they recognize in you, that you don't even recognize in yourself because it's so innate to you. So, for example, I would never in my right mind consider stealing from anybody. It's never crossed my mind. If somebody entrusted me with money, a lot of money, I would never steal it. I would always make sure that it was 100% safe. Always. That thought never even crossed my mind. And to even say that on camera is bizarre to me because it's so obvious to me. And so through that value that I embodied in my behavior, I had people come up to me and say, "Hey, can I entrust you with this money? Hey, can I entrust you with this? Can I put you as a trustee on this business over here?" And I was so taken back. I'm like, Why would you ask me that?" And they say, "Because I trust you." But nothing in my words, nothing in the things that I said, I didn't walk around like with my big britches, like I'm a trustworthy person. I just showed up the way that I thought that I needed to show up, and through my actions, people recognized it. And this is not about me. This is about you, because if you want somebody to actually value you, you have to embody your values. to be a valuable person, you have to have values. You have to value your values. That's funny, right? And so people, they will think about the things they want to do. They'll think about who they need to be, and yet they won't do the things that they know that they need to do. And so when you actually begin to do the things that you need to do more and more and more and more every single day, going to the gym, eating healthy, doing the calls, doing the deep work, you become safe in yourself. You feel safe with yourself because you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I trust the man that I see in the mirror because that man in the mirror does what he says. And if you can say that to yourself in the mirror, guess who's going to say that to you? Future business partners, a future spouse, your children. Could you imagine if your children said, Dad, I don't trust you? I would be devastated if that thought even crossed my children, the minds of my children. I don't have children. I will in the future. But I could not imagine how that would make me feel. To think that a child could recognize his father's inability to be trustworthy. And when this woman said this message to me, it really, really landed with me because I'd spent such a long time cultivating in myself the things that I knew that I needed to be to feel safe with myself because I didn't know who I was. I spent so much time trying to figure out who I was. And the only way to figure out who I was to take away the things that I knew I wasn't and double down on the things that I knew I was, which is my values, which is the highest expression of the man that I wanted to show up as. And then when I did it every day, it was something that I didn't even really want to talk about. Sitting on a camera and talking about this now feels really weird to me. It's bizarre. I'm talking about values. I'm talking about how to show up as a man in the world. This is so strange to me. It's like, isn't that innate? Don't people just get that? It's like, no, they don't get that. In fact, most people don't get that ever. They don't get that ever. And then they wonder why they're stuck in situationships. They wonder why they can't hold down a job. They wonder why they can't break a certain threshold of money. They wonder why they have a very lackluster sex life. They wonder why their wife is resentful of them. It's because energetically, they are not embodying the things they know that they're supposed to do. This is called mental masturbation. Okay. It's the idea that you think that you're doing all of these great things, you're reading all of these self-help books, but you're not actually applying it. How many videos of self-help have you watched? Whether it was like an AI video or like integrate this AI now to scale your business or whatever. And you're like, yeah, whatever. And you didn't do it. How many books have you read about how to save money and invest in money? And then actually stopped, called up a wealth management guy and was like, hey, here's $1,000. Can you put this in a money market? Most people haven't applied the knowledge that they've learned. And they walk around like this giant encyclopedia of knowledge, but completely not embodying it. Yeah, and you can pick those people up from a mile away. It's because when you tap into their energy, they don't feel safe with themselves. Because when you look into their soul, when you look into their eyes, you could see that they're not actually the man that they say that they are. And this is not to tear them down. This is not to look down on them. It's just to say, look, if you really want to be the man that you want to show up as, you can't be mentally masturbating. You can't say you want to stop watching pornography and then still watch pornography. You can't say that you want to gain muscles and then watch Netflix. It just doesn't work. Reality doesn't function that way. If you have an intention but nowhere to land, it doesn't close the loop. It doesn't close the circuit. The intention is the progenitor of the action, which eventually, through consistent repetitive thought, combined with the excitement of emotion, eventually makes manifest in your physical reality. And through the consistent process of doing that over and over and over and over and over again, it becomes unconsciously competent to where that you don't even need to think about what you want to talk about because it's just part of who you are. You don't even need to think about what you're gonna do in your life because it just shows up automatically. You you find the flow. You find the Tao. You're not thinking anymore. There is no thoughts. There is no you. You just become part of the infinite stream of grace. That is your birthright. By aligning with those principles, you think less and less about who you are. You think less and less about what you want, and you attune more and more and more with what is to be done through you. But in order to have a higher power work through you, you must embody a foundation, a fertile ground for those seeds to land on, which has to do with embodying your principles, embodying your values. Now, if you're struggling to know what values are, if you don't even know what your values are, okay, I hope that's not the case, but if you don't know what your values are, you can start with values that you find in religion: love, joy, peace, patience, consistency, authenticity, truth, self-actualization, all of those things. They're all concepts that you can strive towards because they can be as simple as you want them to, or they can be as nuanced as you want them to be. And if you're really going to be a man of principle, if you're going to really be a man of virtue, you're going to really be a man of values, fall in love with that. Figure it out. One of my core principles in my life is truth. I spend almost all my life asking, what is true? What is not true? Why is it true? Why is it not true? Is there universal truth? Is truth all subjective? Is truth absolute? Is it a combination of both? What does that mean? What does life look like when I'm saying something that's not true? What does life look like when I exclusively live in truth? And playing with the infinite nuances of what truth means to me. And you can do that with any value system. And believe me, when you really live that, my God, are you going to become the exception? You're going to embody such a strong vessel of strength and wisdom and magnetism that things will just happen for you. And you don't even need to think about it. You'll just be sitting and they'll show up to you because you've cultivated yourself as a personal magnet for those things. You energetically qualify as the man to receive those blessings. So to know and not to do is not to know. When you know that you embody your virtues, you know you embody your values every single day, this is the core principle of what's going to make you a powerful, capable, and magnetic human being in the world. Don't ever forget that, because that journey never ceases, even until the day that you die.